So yeah, hi. I am Sam. That's correct. Yeah, I'm going to talk about OffscreenCanvas. Just before I introduce myself again, who has used Canvas? Who's used WebGL without 3JS? Okay, this isn't bad. So there will be a little bit of code in this as well, so I was wondering who had delved into Canvas a bit as well. So I'm not going to explain too much anyway. So yeah, creative technologist, developer, coder, digital artist, musician. Somebody once called me a pixelated polymath, which was pretty cool. It's either I've got too many interests or I have an identity crisis, one of the two. So that's me with the phone, not the beers. So this was one of the first gigs I did with some audiovisual software that I made called ModV, which totally runs in the browser, and I use it at gigs to visualize audio. It kind of looks a bit like Winamp's Milk Drop. This is me with Live.js, which is a collective of audio visual artists, and this was us at JSConf, just gone, and they gave us this big coliseum to play with all these cool panels and lights, and this is all JavaScript. This is all in the browser. This is HTML and JavaScript at its best. Well, at my best at least. So yeah, we got this big stage to play with, and it was really cool. But all of this was in the main thread of the browser. So if I clicked on something, the whole thing would just skip for a little frame. So there's no CSS animations in my software. There's no cool UI. It's very plain and basic because I can't have any main thread jank. So Canvas, the closing tag is required. Yeah, so Canvas is an API which exists in the form of this one HTML element, and you pair it with a JavaScript drawing context. These drawing contexts look like this. These are their actual names. But the two most popular are the rendering context 2D and the WebGL renderer. WebGL 2 is already here, but it's less mature, and people are kind of avoiding that in adoption for a little bit, just because there are little hiccups here and there. Anyway, so to use OffscreenCanvas, you use it pretty much like you would normal Canvas, which is great. And so in your main thread, you set up a worker with your worker code, and you create a canvas, and then you use another massive function name called transfer control to offscreen, and then that gives you a transferable. So if you don't know what a transferable is, to send your transferable from the main thread to the worker, this needs to be called a transferable, and the little array down there called offscreen control, that's where you put your transferable. So actually, if you're getting into the deep and dark bits of the engine, it's basically telling the main thread, hey, this little bit of memory is now this worker's and you can't touch it. So you're telling the worker, hey, have this, because then it can access it. And then in the worker thread, you just use Canvas. So if you've used Canvas, you'll probably recognize what this is. So you've got your context from your canvas, which is sent over as your transferable, and then you can use it in a render loop with request animation frame. And this is really cool as well. Actually, OffscreenCanvas has just dropped in Chrome, and it's been in Firefox for a while, but you get request animation frame in workers now, which is pretty nice. So no more set timeouts. So just to demo this slightly, I did increase the font size, but if you can't see it, it doesn't really matter too much. It's the visual output. So this is a very slimmed down version of my software that I made. So it has modules as such, and you can control these things. So let's activate. There we go. So, wow. We've got Reactivate instead. Cool. So yeah, so you've got modules which you can do stuff with. This is all custom code, but the main thing is we've got some cool fancy animations going on. And this bottom one here is in the main thread, and this top one is actually running in a worker. And so we can calculate Fibonacci really terribly if we want to, and on the main thread. And yeah, so this is what happens when you have main thread jank with Canvas. But your off-screen Canvas is still going. Look at that, super nice. So this is really great, right? So we can use off-screen-canvas for all our stuff. So all our games and art projects and video rendering and visual live performances, yeah, we can use off-screen-canvas right now. No, we can't. There's bits here and there which don't work yet. So this is how you load an image with off-screen-canvas compared to your usual canvas. There's a lot more markup. So what you need to do is actually create a blob or an image bitmap with an image in your main thread, post it over to your worker as a transferable, and then you've got your image in your off-screen canvas in your worker. You can also create a blob in your worker, but this was the most contrived way that I could think of, so just to illustrate that this is more complicated. And video, you can't do video either. So this creates big problems for like games which use animated textures or just images and stuff, or anything which does something really nice and cool with Canvas, which isn't just drawing a circle or a square or a grid or a line somewhere. And yeah, so here's an example of actually using video with OffscreenCanvas. So we can play Big Buck Bunny. You've probably seen this. This is the open source or the open licensed Blender movie. So yeah, we can draw a little guy over this. So what I'm actually doing here, I'm running the video in the main thread, and on every frame, I'm encoding that frame as a transferable and then sending it over to the worker. So again, if we want to calculate Fibonacci sequences, because that's what you do on the weekend, or in your live performances, this is what happens. So the video doesn't work on off-screen, but off-screen is still being rendered because of the other bits which still work in that, because you're not transferring video over a thread, which just sounds terrible anyway. So yeah, there's bits in OffscreenCanvas which do work, and that's the whole of the WebGL thing, which works perfectly, as you can see. So this is my software mod V, and we've got like crazy DOM updates on the right there, which would usually lag stuff out. And then we've got this nice shader with like the sea, which is red, the red sea. I don't know. Anyway, I found this shader on Shader Toy, and it runs in my software, it's just a lovely thing which you can just pull out and just assign controls to. So this is my software here. But yeah, so OffscreenCanvas lets you do really nice, smooth visuals, and it lets you potentially in the future create really cool games or render animations and scenes, and it's gonna be great, but it's not quite there yet. So anyway, that was my little dive into OffscreenCanvas. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, that's me.